All right, let's get right into it. For years, one of Minecraft's most common resources was, well, also one of its most controversial. Today, we're going to talk about the story of how players and developers finally came together to turn a simple, decorative block into the cornerstone of a brand new era.
This right here, this quote from a player on Reddit just perfectly sums it up. It captures a feeling that you saw echoing all over the community. It wasn't just some random complaint. It was the shared frustration about a metal that seemed to promise so much, but, delivered so little.
And look, they weren't wrong, were they? If you've played Minecraft since 2021, you know this feeling. You head out on a big mining trip, you're looking for iron, maybe some diamonds, and your inventory just gets absolutely clogged with stacks and stacks of raw copper that you have no real use for. And that really gets us to the heart of the problem here. What I'm calling the copper conundrum. I mean, what do you do with a resource that's literally everywhere, but functionally goes nowhere? So, just as a quick refresher, right, copper showed up with that massive Caves and Cliffs update. It was designed from the ground up to be this super common early game metal, but its actual usefulness, it just never matched how much of it there was. And the thing is, when you look at what you could do with it, man, this list is short. You had the lightning rod, which, okay, that was genuinely useful, but it's something you craft maybe once or twice. The spyglass and the brush were cool additions, but they were for very specific, niche things. That left its main job as just decoration, all thanks to that signature ability to oxidize and turn green over time. But here's where the irony of copper's role in Minecraft gets even crazier, especially when you put it up against its real-world history. I mean, in the real world, copper was a total game changer. It literally has an entire age of human history named after it. It gave us our first metal tools, our first metal weapons. It fundamentally changed civilization. And in Minecraft, it was the block you mined by accident and then just dumped in a chest and forgot about. The difference was just huge. This whole situation felt even weirder when you remember just how much Minecraft is always changing. It's like flipping through an old photo album, you know? Here's a snapshot from 2011, the Adventure update, giving the game a real goal. Then you flip the page to 2013, the update that changed the world, completely rewriting exploration. We saw these massive shifts with the combat update and the Nether update. Each one was a huge leap forward. And then you get to the photo from 2021, Caves and Cliffs, a gigantic update that brought us copper and then just kind of left it there without a real purpose that lived up to that history. So you gotta ask, right? In a game that is constantly evolving and reinventing itself, why did this one single feature feel so static, so incomplete, for so long? Well, after years and years of players talking about this, the answer finally came. Mojang announced a new kind of update, a smaller, more focused game drop, and its theme was crystal clear. The Copper Age was finally coming to Minecraft. And this wasn't just another update, it was a direct response. The Copper Age was built from the ground up to tackle the exact complaints players have been making since 2021. It's a great example of the design philosophy that's kept Minecraft so relevant. You gotta listen to your community. And oh man, they did not hold back. This wasn't just one new item. We're talking a complete overhaul. A full tier of tools and armor to fill that early game gap. Functional decorations, smart new storage, and the real showstopper, the return of a fan-favorite mob, a creature in the game, that everyone thought was gone for good, the Copper Golem. So here's the deal with the new copper gear, and this is actually pretty clever. It slots in perfectly between the stone and iron tiers. It's way more durable and effective than stone, but it's not quite as good as iron. This makes it the perfect little stepping stone, helping players smooth out that sometimes tough early game grind. But come on, let's be real. The star of this whole thing is the Copper Golem. This little guy was a beloved concept that actually lost a community vote a few years back, and seeing it come back was just a huge, huge win for the players. So what's its job? The Copper Golem is basically this little utility mob you build yourself. Think of it like your personal, clanking, whirring little assistant for your base, who just happens to have a very specific and very useful talent for tidying up. The way it works is actually super simple, but so helpful. You just dump all your messy, unsorted loot into its special copper chest.
The golem then grabs an item, zips over to another chest that already has some of that same item, and plops it right in. It's an automated storage sorter, a massive quality of life win for anyone who is sick of organizing chests. And just like every other copper block in the game, the golem oxidizes. It slowly turns from that bright orange to a turquoise green. And if you let it go all the way, it freezes into a little decorative statue. But don't worry, you can just wax it with a honeycomb to keep it active. Or if you forget, just scrape it with an axe to wake it back up again. Pretty cool. So when you put it all together, what does this actually mean for Minecraft? Well, it means copper has finally made the jump. It's gone from being just a pretty block to being a truly functional, important part of the game. And it's not just one thing, right? Copper's usefulness is now woven throughout the game. You've got equipment that smooths out progression, the golem gives us that long-awaited automation, there's even a new redstone component, the copper bulb, which is a light source that literally gets dimmer as it gets older. Every single one of these new items gives copper a real, tangible purpose. And that just brings us right back to the beginning, full circle. The Copper Age is proof of the power of community feedback. It took that overly abundant, useless ore and turned it into a resource that's now vital for building, for progression, and for automation. I just love this quote from the U.S. Geological Survey. In the real world, copper's value really shines when it's combined with other things. And in a weird way, that's exactly what happened here in Minecraft. The ore itself didn't change, but by combining it with new ideas, new mechanics, and new community feedback, it finally became invaluable. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. Now that copper has finally had its moment, it really makes you wonder, what other overlooked, forgotten, or useless part of this incredible, always changing game is just sitting there, waiting for its own age to begin?